I have to leave, or you want me to close?
No, close the door.
It's
Maybe
back
leave
for
the door
public,
closed.
right?
Leave it open.
You can leave it open.
Yeah, we'll leave it open.
Was just
The
the,
public
all
meeting
the noise from the hallway was,
Still by the gym.
It's very
Can I
distracting.
keep it open?
Love it.
Yeah.
It's, you're good to go. I've got to go get Jim the Zoom link for the.
yes, Jim needs to be,
Do you want me to send it over to the, oh yeah. Jim?
what?
Oh, was overruled by council.
Good. How could that be?
You were able to make all the edits?
Not all of them, yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say that'd be. Would have made for a very boring weekend.
I was online for quite a while this weekend, but,
Much better.
a lot of them I made on the fly while we were in the meeting.
Yeah.
But the ones then.
So Bill, question, so what are we reviewing? Like what, when do we want for her to complete the edits and then review it?
We're,
Just asking.
I presume that we're here to talk about how we're making progress toward building warrants.
Yes.
How we're going to, because none of this is gonna make any difference to anybody unless we put it in front of the voters.
Right, but my understanding, right, is that we have the proposed edits, we agree to those, and then it goes to council, right?
No,
Or it goes to you guys.
no, it's gotta go to the public first.
We have to have a-
Okay,
We need, if they don't do anything today, if we don't discuss, not a word, we'll set a date for the public hearing on ordinances that are going to be
Right.
presented as warrants. We need to have a public hearing where we address the warrants that are going to be delivered at town meeting.
right, so.
Give the public a chance. To-
I understand that, but I thought last meeting we talked about the process is we come to agreement on what's gonna change.
Yeah.
Where none of us are warrant writers and that it goes to
No, Liz writes them.
That's right.
Liz will write, okay, I'm just
then we have a
clarifying the
public meeting.
process for myself.
Okay.
So Liz will write them.
Yep.
Once
Yeah.
we say, okay, these edits are good,
Yeah. well,
and then we bring it to the public.
It started
Yes.
with
Okay.
this, with these pages of the 12 items that Liz
Right.
started to write these warrants.
Yes,
And when we had to chew on the, whether or not we want those changes made to the ordinances, then Liz will finish it. But
Okay,
in the meantime, the first date that we have available to us, that is, state law is not specific about it, but a month before the deadline for the submission of warrants to, I think we have to deliver to the state play a role in the warrants that we propose?
Not the state.
All right, there is a date,
last
which
date.
I believe is January. And then we march a month ahead of it is the first date that it is, shall we say, acceptable
A public hearing.
yes.
for a public hearing.
Last
That's
meeting
December
was-
12th.
okay.
It's December 16th.
16th at 6 o'clock.
PM, that was already scheduled.
Yeah, we did that last meeting.
For the zoning
Yeah.
ordinance.
Yeah.
Public hearing.
For the
For the
ordinance.
public hearing.
Yes, for zoning ordinances.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, yes, I remember there was a discussion that we didn't, some of you didn't want to do this on a Friday.
It's a Tuesday,
So Tuesday, December 16th.
correct? It's,
Right.
that's what I have at
Okay,
6.
That's what I have.
Okay,
6:30.
then the first
What?
fundamental question has been answered.
At 6?
I have 6.
Yes.
Do you have a comment?
Well, no, we don't have a lot of time. I would offer the first available date. And have two, you're gonna have probably, if we make any changes, then you gotta go back to another public hearing.
So.
Any
yes.
substantive changes. So
Yes.
I would take the first opportunity on the first day, even if it's a Friday. And then knowing you're coming back sometime, because you're gonna have all this Tyrell stuff to get through as well. And you gotta get that done by the 17th, and if you got 2 weeks of holidays in the middle. I would go for the first available day, get the requirement done. You don't have, it doesn't have to be 6, it could be any time during the day. You know, we're probably gonna make changes, so you're gonna come back at 6 o'clock on another day closer to January 12th. So I would
Yes. so
caution
January-
doing it, even a few days delay, I would just do it.
Yep, so January 12th is the first public hearing deadline, and then
Right.
January 26th is the second one.
Right,
So what I'm hoping is that we get everything pretty much set,
right,
and then it will only be based on public feedback if there's any changes.
right.
So our first meeting, regularly scheduled meeting is January 8th,
Right.
and so.
Wait.
No, we have one in December.
Right.
We're talking about the
No, we're
January,
talking about
that's
the
close to
January.
it.
So
Right,
if we are scheduled to meet on January 8th anyways, we can use that as a workshop from the public feedback unless you guys wanted to schedule one closer to that public hearing.
January,
no, because you're getting into holidays, right?
we have something scheduled the
Yeah,
8th.
it goes into
Well, it's
Christmas
just a
time.
regular one,
January 8th is the.
January
regular
8th,
scheduled meeting.
December 11th is the regular.
Is the next
scheduled meeting.
regular scheduled
Yeah.
one. The other thing too at play here is that once you have your first public hearing, then if any of those pass, that become retroactive to that date.
Yes,
And I think that's a consideration, given some of the changes we're making.
Mhm.
Again, that militates toward taking the first available date, having the public hearing, and that will be the start date.
yes, it would, yes, if they're passed,
But it was
March,
passed.
that would,
in-
yes.
What Rich is
March.
talking, I see confused look over here, but what Rich is talking about is once the ordinance, once the warrant is proposed, it becomes a date of enforcement.
Yeah, the public.
Once the public hearing is held on the proposed
Mm-hmm.
warrant
Okay, public hearing held on a
and it's
proposed warrant.
passed in March, then it's
It's-
the zoning change is retroactive to that first public hearing.
I thought it's when we approve the
No.
warrant. It's when it's first brought
The
up.
first public hearing.
First
So
public hearing.
if we want to. I think we're making some potentially significant changes. If we want to backdate it. To an earliest date possible, it will be December 12th.
Yes, and yes, there are some changes that I think are significant enough that we would want to be able to say that they are enforceable from December 12th.
That's right.
So that means
This
that
is-
it's based on when Liz can write the draft warrant articles.
That you
Okay,
can
how-
post
We're
them.
dependent on that.
Yeah,
Right.
I think she had it
We
mostly.
currently
So-
have it
Yes.
for December
Um,
16th, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm just saying that if you could do it earlier, I would do it earlier, just to
Right.
get it on. get it
What I
done early.
hear is a proposal on the floor to change the date from December 16 to December 12.
Or whenever.
Well, 12 the earliest.
12 is the
12 is
earliest.
the earliest.
That I would recommend not going 30 days prior to the deadline.
Because,
So the state law is, it doesn't give you a window, it just says this is the last date. But I would recommend not going 30 days prior to that deadline.
so then stick with the 16th.
Yeah, that's why I think we came up
Yeah.
with the 16th, because we originally talked
Yep.
about the 12th, and I think
Mhm.
that's why we landed on the
Yes.
16th.
Okay, I wasn't here for that discussion.
Okay.
so-
Yep.
Why do we do it?
So yeah.
So we're gonna stick to December
I hear
16th
what you're
as of
saying.
right now for that public hearing of the zoning ordinance changes.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, John.
since there's so many meetings, do you think that someone could send all of us the dates, times?
Places and calendar of our
Yeah,
meetings.
so I got so many dates down and meetings down, it
Yep.
gets a little confusing.
It is confusing. Get a sleeping bag and stay here.
I would. If you provide a mattress, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Air mattress.
All right, we're staying with the 16th.
At 6 p.m.
Yes, 6 p.m.
6 p.m., the 16th, here in this building, this room, public hearing.
Yes. And the only warrant articles that I don't have typed up yet that we brought up at the last meeting were to zone the River Road area that's unzoned. So I still have to type that one up, and I believe
Which is not right.
there's also different state laws, and we have to send them certified letters and whatnot a certain amount of days prior to that public hearing, because it's 100. If you are going to rezone an area that affects less than 100 people, you have to send them certified letters and things like that. So my question though was River Road, the bottom two lots, let me pull it up,
Bottom,
of River Road.
yeah,
You mean
I don't
most,
know what you're saying.
The
It's
two
up.
green ones, those are both rec. Would the board also want to rezone those as well to reflect?
These are people's homes.
That's a
Yes,
home.
they are, they're
Yeah.
homes,
I think so.
but would we want to include them in the rezoning?
Margaret, you have his recs, his own rec.
Would you think so?
Oh, is that what it's
No, it's not.
Oh.
The last two
I
lots
think
are
I'm
actually
LDR.
zone rec.
Yes, they're zone.
Oh, yeah, look at that. I see it now.
What is that?
Those, yeah, those
The
two.
Britons?
Wow,
No, further.
No.
There's an empty lot and there's a house.
but there's a
So
house
there's
on
no-
one of them.
There's
Two houses.
there's two houses
There's
on both
two
of those
houses.
lots.
There's a house on both
And-
lots.
yeah.
LDR.
That's absolutely.
They're the root and the people that live next to them that
Do
are.
we have food
the
trucks there?
Yes.
But they have
the
lovely
Ravens
house.
And.
You hardly ever see it, but it's a
Means?
beautiful house.
Bradford Communities Trustee.
At any rate, the answer is my answer, I shouldn't be talking. But we clearly should be rezoning them.
Yeah, Liz?
Include those.
Liz, there's a proposal, and I will look around the table and say there's a proposal that those two houses, those two lots be rezoned LDR.
Yes.
Will do.
Nods of approval?
Yeah.
Aye, aye, aye.
Aye,
Didn't
okay.
we take a vote on this at a town meeting at
Yes.
one point in time?
Oh.
I don't know.
I remember. That I have to.
I don't remember that.
It's because there was possibly could have been voted on, possibly it's just a mapping error, but I want to just have it on our
Okay,
radar.
I
in
think,
case
it
get
is
my-
probably a mapping error, because I have a very clear memory of there being a change from HDR to LDR, and there was a discussion about why was it ever listed as HDR to
Mhm.
begin with just 13 lots and 13 houses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was the question then that though it just never got recorded because
That's
this
what
came
I'm
up with
thinking happened.
With SC Group, yeah.
Yeah.
They were the
Okay.
ones that. brought it up.
I think it never got recorded.
Okay.
So it may have already been done.
They may have already been voted on.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yes.
check on that.
Then it should be in the historical records.
Mhm.
All right, another question is that we had a presentation, discussion with Rainey to talk about the lot on which the White Mountain
Special
Athletic,
civic zone.
yeah. It didn't make sense to me that it would be zoned special civic. That, right.
Mhm.
So I'd say throw that into the mix, Liz,
Yes.
to say that it would be fairly easy to do that. It seems logical that that should be zoned, he asked that it be zoned,
Village. commercial.
village commercial. That's also seems logical,
He's enforcing himself. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's another problem, and that is that for it to be, civic, there shouldn't be a restaurant there.
Well, and also allows them to develop that lot between the
In
two.
between.
It does, I think
So
that's
I think
the
that's
principal
what it's-
discussion.
Yeah.
But there's this anomaly that it could be corrected simply by changing the zone.
And then the last one that I picked up, going through this whole looking to see if the board can, post bonds for dilapidated structures or buildings. But, section Q of the zoning ordinance is landscaping property maintenance. It talks about landscaping in buildings. I wanna add structure to that as well, so that it covers all
Yes,
things around it.
makes sense.
Would that fit with the current site plan review regulations? Because we've had this discussion before and it talks about bonding, but not for maintenance.
Right, yes,
It
for
talks-
continued maintenance,
Right.
a planning board, the bonds aren't used for that, they're used for. Promises, and it's fulfillment of the project, but it's not for ongoing maintenance.
And not ongoing, but I guess, because that, when this came up, that, at the meeting, at the public hearing, that's what clicked in my mind. So we've had this discussion about the ability of the town to have a bond. By a developer in the event that it's not ongoing maintenance, it would be if. The structure had become dilapidated and was abandoned or otherwise no longer used. The town would have a pot of money to see to its removal.
He wasn't here.
Oh,
I know, we just had that
So
conversation.
Laura,
Okay.
yes, we did have that conversation, and we cannot do that.
Well, what I'm saying is,
Yep.
but if we changed our site plan regulations, could we do that?
The state law doesn't allow us to do that.
Is that-
It's 674-44, and
Okay.
it's for improvements and construction.
Which is what ours says, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's all we have teeth on. And so Laura said that the process is it becomes dilapidated, we go to court, and then.
Okay.
The court can.
I remember this discussion before, so just repeated the discussion.
Yep.
And you're just confirming what we have been told before, that we can't
Yeah,
have a bond for dilapidation.
yes, yep,
There's no,
but that takes me into looking in the zoning ordinance, to see what it said about maintenance, ongoing
Right.
maintenance. And so section Q talks about, property, landscaping and buildings, but it doesn't say anything about structures. So I just wanna add structures into that section as well.
Yeah.
So. And then the last warrant article that I still have to draft is the short-term rental regulation change. But we already went through it, I just have to create the warrant article. So I'll get those done either today or tomorrow, and then I'll send them out along with the schedule. A short blurb of what is scheduled, and we're gonna go from here.
I do have one question on one of the things we talked about last time. It was a proposal by Margaret to exempt nonprofits and community events. As I thought about it, that would open up all the zones for a nonprofit or community event. Is that correct? If they're exempt. Was that your
Under
intent?
the definition,
But by defining those out, you would allow
it
food
would,
service and LDI.
any place where food services were allowed.
Okay, that's different, I think, how it was written. We
The-
discussed it.
So my understanding was to exempt community-based and
definition.
fundraising activities.
From the
Yeah,
definition of food
Nonprofit,
service
nonprofit, I
establishment.
think you had mentioned as well.
Okay, so nonprofit, I will make a note
Yeah.
about.
I think it was community events and nonprofit fundraise or something like,
Yeah,
yeah.
community and nonprofit fundraising events.
I just
That
wondered,
was excluded from the food service definition.
So it would be allowed in all.
it would be allowed in all zones, so you would, with that exclusion, you are allowing food service for nonprofit or community events in LDI.
Mhm. That's what it would do, yes.
But that language, that's what clicked in my mind.
I'm only changing what the definition is.
Hmm.
So now you have to go to the table and see where food service establishments are allowed.
Which would exclude, so the definition, it would exclude those fundraising events, so therefore it would be allowed anywhere. Because the
town.
definition says, the use table says where it is allowed. If you're excluding the community-based events and nonprofits, that means that they don't have to follow that regulation. So therefore,
Because they're
it
not
would be
considered
allowed,
food, they're not considered food
it would be allowed.
service establishments. We don't have a definition, but, so it would be allowed unless we can find, if we want that, I don't know. Or we find a way to do what Margaret what your intent was, to
What is that?
allow them in the areas where allowed unambiguously. But, see, here's the other thing I'm concerned about as well, actually, when you think about it, I mean, I don't think anybody here is worried about a parent having a fundraiser in their home for the school or something like that. It's at play here, but there are other potential organizations that potentially can use this loophole. For example,
Mhm.
we cannot regulate where a place of religious worship is, correct?
Mhm.
It can be in any of our zones. What if they hold Friday night potlucks? And it's in a home in LDR, because they've declared that to be a
A religious.
religious,
Structure.
whatever the state law
Well,
is, and it's,
they have a religious service there, followed by,
no, a fundraiser, a fundraiser.
Mhm.
So
Now, you can control that by noise and parking ordinance, but it would be allowed, right?
I think it's allowed now.
No, because we don't allow
Food service.
food service
No,
in
we don't allow
LDR.
restaurants and lounges.
yes, which we're changing.
Well, but we've always interpreted that as food service. That's why we're trying to fix the definition.
let me give you an example. The New Hampshire Music Festival has a
Yeah, it's a fundraiser behind the rec center.
fundraiser
Well, no, and
Oh,
they
at somebody's house.
Yeah.
at
Yeah,
someone's house.
Right,
That all the time.
right.
And wait a minute, I'm not making a negative or
right.
positive, but I'm using that as an example
Right.
of, is that something we want or do not want? And I think that
I
is
don't have a
something,
problem with that.
I didn't say I did, I'm
No,
just
I
saying.
mean, I don't have a problem with. As somebody said, we do it now. I don't have a problem with, okay. Because it's not part that is allowed in that zone. I don't have a problem with that.
So-
I don't have a problem with somebody who has a condominium and has a fundraising thing in their home. That's an HDR.
I'm not making a comment that
Yeah,
I
I
have a
know.
problem. I'm making a problem. I think that what we have is we have something that is going on that is probably not actually allowed, but everybody is winking at it. Did I say that?
No, that's not true, because right now the definition is not as broad as it is in the one we proposed.
If we were to be held to it, you're correct, Margaret, but we've interpreted that restaurants and lounges to mean food service establishment. That's what we're trying to fix to begin with. But the problem is, if you try to fix it, then all ambiguity disappears. And then, it would not be allowed in LDR unless you have this exception. So we may be fine with a fundraiser for, the New Hampshire Music Festival, but there are other possibilities that could happen. That's all I'm saying. We're opening it up to anybody being able to serve food as part of a fundraiser in LDR, the way we've structured the change so far.
And then they could have a DJ until 10 o'clock for noise.
Well, the noise, the noise,
Noises, yeah.
potentially.
No, because when you have.
But you have to deal with, well, that could be a
Music.
nuisance thing though, but.
So we could make like a subparagraph. And word it saying, community and fundraising events shall only be allowed where food service establishments are without permitting or are just allowed.
But that
Is
would
that
keep,
what we're aiming for, or?
no, well, that's what I'm
we-
wondering, because
Okay.
that wouldn't allow it in LDR though, right?
We
Because
just-
the food service is not allowed in LDR.
I'm having trouble understanding.
Hmm.
What the issue is with just saying we exclude these things from the food service definition. I understand what you're saying is that would imply that. These things are allowed.
In any zone in town. And while we may agree on some. Use of that, I just wonder if there are unintended consequences. We can't find a way to
Mhm.
specify what we want. Again, I give the example of someone claimed that their home is actually a religious entity that holds services and they hold fundraisers there for some charity that serves food.
And what's the problem with that?
I'm not saying it is a problem. It'll open it up to that as well,
Yeah,
if that's what we're willing
but
to.
they have that right to do that right now.
They
It's
do
not a
not.
change
do
from
not.
what's going on right now.
It's
Well,
undefined.
Well, you have
currently.
in my mind,
Fundraisers.
Margaret, this is my issue, all right? We have things that are kind of going on here
Mhm.
that may or may not be allowed, and we're kind of saying, go ahead, wink, wink. All right? And the question that before the board is, okay, what do we or don't we want to allow and where do we draw the line?
If we change this
And,
definition.
and if I take, the other Jewish people in town and bring them over my house for a Friday evening service. And after which I say, hey, we ought to make this once a month and let's put some money in the pot so that Mike and Tina aren't paying for everything for the food afterwards. Is that something that is to be allowed? My answer is yes.
Mhm.
But I don't think that, well, except it's probably allowed from where my place is. But,
Homeowners association.
but if it's at your house, that may not be allowed. So your question is something like I just described should be allowed across the board is what you're saying.
Yeah,
All right, and the question is that what we want to allow, that this is really allowed across the valley?
right.
And I don't think I have
Which
a
is-
problem with that, I
Which
just
is
wanted to
where
clarify.
it is now, because we allow potlucks, we allow things at the school that are fundraisers and we allow people bringing food to a lecture. We allow luncheons at the library, we allow the gazebo sachet, all of those things
Mhm.
are covering a whole variety of zones. And
Except LDR. By our zone,
we allow people to have fundraisers in their homes right now and serve food.
right, well,
We don't consider those to be restaurants,
Okay,
lounges, or
lounges,
food
right.
service
that's what I'm saying, we're
establishments.
inconsistent, that's why we're trying to fix it.
Yeah.
We're inconsistent,
I think what
Correct.
Rich said was that it's not allowed in LDR now if you were to observe and stick strictly to the ordinance as it's written.
As it's written right now, we would not consider a fundraiser in somebody's home a food service establishment.
Right,
correct,
right.
Yes.
So-
but
That would
we
be-
consider all other things to be a food service establishment.
To me, a food service establishment is for profit. So why
Yeah,
can't?
it's a business.
It's a business. So yeah. That's, if
Which
that's
I-
part of the definition, then it excludes all the other, the nonprofits, if you wanna, have a
Well,
fundraiser. So
Yeah.
just make it simple and then
Well-
it's a for-profit. And then to your point about, if people are gonna have, a lot of people over, all of that stuff is then controlled by the noise ordinances and the parking ordinances and things like that, as far as putting pressure on town resources. So I don't see it's an issue.
Which I think that's where we kind of landed on at the last meeting, was to possibly just take out nonprofit
Right.
from the definition and just
Mhm.
let it
I-
go.
Just observing that anything is
Or-
not, that's considered that is labeled nonprofit,
Yeah.
Okay.
Because,
that's what the board
if
wants.
because again, if it becomes an issue, well, where's an issue for me to say, Bill's having all these shindigs at his house, and I can't,
But it-
and I can't get up the road because of all the cars parking. Okay, well, then that's a separate issue. That is addressed then with the parking. Or I can't get to sleep because it's past 10 o'clock because they're, hooting and hollering. That's addressed in another way. So, that's how I kind of feel like we're controlling that.
I don't think he can do like nonprofit, because then there's gonna be a determination.
What's-
Oh, are you a registered with the IRS
And that's what it
nonprofit?
would be, that,
Yeah, that's what I'm
Now it's
saying. I don't
getting-
think the profit.
In an attempt to
nonprofit-
clarify where.
Right.
So can't you just say then for profit, instead of saying it nonprofits are allowed, and say a food service establishment is a for profit?
Well, that's not how the state, we're taking the state
Sometimes they
definition,
lose money.
and there's a reason why I think the state,
Right.
there's a reason why the state put
Like
nonprofit in there.
and my worry is,
Yeah.
so have any of the for-profit companies here received grants? Because if they have, most likely they have a nonprofit somehow tied to their for-profit company. To funnel grant money through in order to use for their for-profit.
I don't know.
Or public partnerships.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that, and so.
There's a reason why the state had nonprofit in there, and it's for these sorts of things that not very well educated about that. I thought of a couple, but I'm sure there are others. It's not just enforcing noise and parking. You will allow food, anyone claiming to be a nonprofit could potentially could serve food anywhere in town with that exemption, if that's what we want. That's the
And
observation.
the definition that I had typed in was this shall exclude community and fundraising events. That was just, that's where we must have landed at the last meeting.
Sure.
That was the
What are the
change.
implications of that then? If you keep out nonprofit?
And that leaves nonprofit in there.
In the definition.
In the definition, yes, and the only
about-
exclusion would be community and fundraising events.
How about community fundraising events? No and. Community fundraising events.
Then that would, I mean,
Then that
They're
would
not
mean
all raising funds.
they're not all raising funds.
For the community.
Cindy
So is it
Pecos
and
comes
or
down
or?
and serves lunch once a month to the employees of town.
But that's allowed. Well, here, the zoning doesn't count, but that's a cheap way out of your question.
But then
I
like a
understand.
common man for Ukraine would not be allowed because that's not community, right? Is that? I'm just using that as an
Like,
example.
do you
So
want
we-
them to have an event in LDR? That's my question.
Well, if it's somebody's private home that. they
But there
want-
are other private homes and abutters around that.
Right, so what,
So-
but again,
That's
if,
what
what's
I'm
the difference
asking.
between
Oh,
having, I'm
that's-
having a party at my house versus I'm having a fundraiser at my house?
Well, it depends.
What's the
And I'm
difference?
gonna play devil's advocate.
Yeah, yeah.
You do it on a weekly basis. You have this wonderful soiree because you have a great,
Bridge
thing
Club.
you want to
Mhm.
contribute to.
Yeah.
And you put a tent out in your yard because you live on an acre or a half acre. And you have all these disruptions and people like, okay, maybe once a year, twice a year, but
What about
now all of
like
a sudden.
Football parties, every week,
Yeah,
every
well,
week a football party,
those aren't-
whatever. you
Doesn't
know
go
what I'm saying?
outside. Potentially, but now you're opening the door to potentially, you know what? It's a fundraiser, an event. I wanna put up a 30 by 60 tent. I'm having 200 people, cars, whatever. I don't know what the parking is. I'm playing devil's advocate.
Right.
They
That's
could
what
do
you
it
want.
subject to.
You could
public
do it, but
parking
then
and
again,
noise.
you have to stay within the parking, you'd have to stay within the noise. Or and all the other things. I mean, I don't know, I'm not either way, I'm just trying to get clarity here about
Concerns.
what we're, you know, I don't wanna be.
so adding somehow wording it that not a regularly scheduled or there was.
Well, it says
What was that
routinely serve
catch?
food.
Yeah.
I put it up here. It says
Regularly-
routinely serves
Yeah,
food.
routinely,
Routine.
yes.
So like, I mean, I feel like having a party at your house isn't
No,
routinely
Right.
serving food.
Right.
Nor would even having a fundraiser. That's
Yep.
not something
Right.
you do routinely
Mhm.
in my head. Not that I have any skin in this. That's how I feel about it.
Yes.
Bill, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes.
go ahead, Jim.
So anything to do with the food service definition would fall under the food service licensing from Health and Human Services. So if you're looking for a way to break that out, an event that's a family event or a family and friends event would not meet that food service definition by the state.
What about a potluck at the school? That's open to the public.
I think that.
Those usually do not meet that because it's not an entity that's distributing the food. And say you mentioned the Common Man for Ukraine Fund, that's going to fall under the Common Man's food service license.
I was using that as an
Maybe-
example though of a non-community event. It
Yeah.
could be, I could, be for something on the
Could be-
beach or whatever. It could be
Or
whatever.
it could be to raise funds for something in
Right.
Guadalupe. Like,
Or-
I mean, it could be either or.
I think that like Rich had pointed out last time, was that routinely word being key,
Okay.
and it would be regular basis. And that's what would fall under this food service establishment. Anything on the outside of routine, then it would not fall subject to this definition.
So what's the definition of routine then? If you have traditionally every Thanksgiving, you have a meal that precedes Thanksgiving at the school to raise money, and that happens every single year? Is that routine?
I don't know if
I don't.
there's a
yeah.
state law that defines it, but.
Again, you have to. You have to retreat into the common understanding. I mean, all the zoning is built on common
would say-
understanding of words.
That would be annual. Something that happens
Yeah.
once is annual versus
Gazebo,
routine would be more
sachet,
frequently.
Yeah,
But again, putting an A in special civic fixes that. That's part of the fix, so to allow that. Again, I think the only thing at play here are, I think the important one for residents would be LDR. The others are green belt. And
Snows
snows
Mountain
and
and
what else is?
the forest, the White Mountain National
We don't have any
Forest.
access, I mean, we don't have any control over what goes on in there anyway. Are those the other
Special
zones?
civic.
Well, we're putting the A for accessory for special civic, that was part of the
Yes.
fix.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this definition, if we were to do it the way it was originally proposed, would allow food service establishment in any zone except for snow, any zone that we really care about, except for Snows Mountain and LDR.
And the green belt.
Well, in the green belt, but I think the green belt is
all town.
mostly town property, it's town property, so. We had the. Select board can control that, what they allow to happen there. This is public property. And I think we left it to the folks who are most affected by Snow's education district to decide whether or not they want to include that. We did not put an A there, we left it,
No, we left
we
that.
left that for the public hearing to see if that would come up.
So. So do we add excluding community and fundraising events? Do we leave it as is, as on the screen? Because of the word routinely covering it? Just a quick search, there's no state definition for routinely, other than activities of daily living. Or
ADL.
basic
That makes it
routine
more
tasks.
specific.
So. And if we leave it as routine,
Private or
And-
public organization that routinely serves food, so that would not be a fundraiser.
right,
I would not consider a fundraiser to be that.
No, I think
Or
routinely
do
is a
we
pretty
list
good
out?
word.
I mean, we could always list out.
Well, Margaret was trying to make it explicit.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to figure out
Mhm,
how to do that, but not opening up
mhm.
these other uses. Potential
Um,
uses.
We can make a total separate section and say, within probably the general requirements section, saying that fundraising
Yeah,
events
why don't,
are
yeah,
allowed anywhere.
yeah, let's take it head on. Just, it's just a separate section, entitled, community and fundraising events.
And
We can define what that is.
Yep.
And then note that whatever the parameters are we define,
Mhm.
they're allowed in any zone.
Mhm.
That way would exclude out anything that doesn't fit those definitions. The definition of a fundraiser, we just have to come up with a fundraiser.
Mhm.
That wouldn't allow, for example, a private entity to have a fundraiser as part of its operations for.
So.
It'd be
not-
easier to find, if you're going into your ordinance, it's
Fundraiser.
insane. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I'm trying to remember, Jim, are you still there?
He is.
Mayor,
We don't have a permitting for fundraising per se, right? Or do we on town land, we regulate it, right? I'm trying to remember. Margaret, do you remember how we've handled fundraising in the past?
it would fall under raffle, and I don't know if we actually have anything on that.
We do things for races.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm remembering.
somebody's having a race and that is going to go across town land, and I think they also have to get permission from the White Mountain National Forest.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember the situations that we, not often, but they do come up where someone planning to hold a fundraiser needs to come in front of the select board to get approval to hold that fundraiser.
There's skijoring, in 2022, there was a fundraising event.
Yeah, that was one of
We've had
them.
that every year.
Okay.
That would fall more under the special event.
Special
That's,
events, yeah,
that was it.
yeah.
And I'm trying to remember, that was, when we looked at the special event permitting.
Permitting.
Was that one of the ones we were looking at potentially changing? Do you recall, Jim, the conversation with David on this?
We were talking about treating events that happen in town square and the town square property as part of their normal event permitting process, and then treating the events that happen outside of town square as a special event.
Right, because then we'd want to trigger the health and safety as well as the noise and parking, which is the other part.
Yes.
Not just noise and parking, but the health and safety regulations. So maybe
So it looks
a
like,
section on fundraising.
it looks
define
like
it?
fundraising may just be informational given to the select board. The minutes, I'm just quickly scanning, the select board minutes. And there's a bunch, they're just saying, like, there's going to be a fundraiser, for museum improvements. This must
What
be
museum?
historical. Seeing it. Reggie,
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we have
Historical
it, the
Society.
Historical Society,
Yeah.
so. it
little
looks like
museum. at
It's a
the end
window
of the road.
display.
They were going to do one, then,
Yeah, because it may bring in, I mean, you'd have noise, you'd have parking, and then you have health and safety. I mean, some special events may require like porta potties and stuff like that, which a
library.
fundraiser and an LDR, you want porta potties there?
No?
Yes,
Leave them on the corner, because when I drive the bus.
Yeah. Could come in handy, right?
Yeah.
A quick pit
Yes,
stop.
that's right.
No, I think Margaret's point is
Say,
well taken. We should
Right,
try to
seated
make
bus
it.
driver.
We've been doing something. It hasn't really been covered. And we're changing a definition, which makes things a bit complicated to what we've been doing with regard to fundraising and community events. So maybe we just have a section on fundraising and community events, define what it is. So we define out things we don't want to have, and let that be allowed in any zone, subject to the owner of the property.
I'm okay with that. I would
That fixes
say
it.
community and nonprofit fundraising events.
Yeah, no, that's even better.
Yeah,
so,
Now we gotta figure out what that is.
Special section.
I mean, the issue that I have in not-for-profit entities is that's a very broad animal. I guess we're not gonna put any restrictions on that.
Well,
Can be any not-for-profit
Well,
entity.
that's the next step. If we have a separate section and we say this section governs community and nonprofit,
Not-for-profit.
not-for-profit events, then what is it we put in there? That's the next step. How do we delimit what we want to be considered these things?
All right, let's
Chair.
go with that.
Yes.
Quick question.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at that master plan. Yes, go ahead.
As a broad overreaching goal, wouldn't it be beneficial to the town to keep things more broad and have those individuals who want to come before the board once or twice a year just require an okay?
Mhm.
You know, why relinquish as the governing body, and detail it so specifically? Because as Mike said, you're always gonna find someone who wants to twist it in a certain avenue. So I'm just playing devil's advocate. and
That to
saying,
me is the
hey,
permitting process.
So we could put in the zoning ordinance that, any community, not-for-profit or fundraising events must be reviewed by the select board prior to the event.
That's a bit
Or-
draconian, I think.
No, that's,
Okay.
Very
I
strong.
don't think we wanna go
You
that
don't
far.
want-
You want
to,
a
okay.
permit?
no.
No.
That's a lot.
Or just
People aren't gonna know
informational,
about it or
must,
do it.
you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could say where food service establishment is already allowed, those zones, they can do it.
Yeah.
So boom, 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 you get rid of all the zones. So, in other words, whatever the formulation is, not-for-profit and community events, involving food, they fit in the zones already that allow, that just leaves
Right, LDR.
LDR, because Greenbelt is town property, so they have to go in front of the select board for that. And snows. And we're leaving that up to the snows folks to let us know if they want to be involved in this. And then you have the White Mountain National Forest where our WIC does not run.
Right.
So then we write it specifically to fundraising events that occur in LDR. What kind of limits we want to put on that. Right? Is that the best way to?
But
Because then
then I
it-
say to myself,
Yeah.
well, if it's happening within my own home and I'm not disturbing anybody, it's, and
You
it's
can
like,
say that about anything, John.
right,
That's,
Right.
yeah,
it's
My
not your
house.
business and I
Well-
can do what I want
that's what people say, but that's not correct. Yeah,
inside your own home.
yeah. On your own property, you have significant property rights, but they're not absolute.
No, understood.
As to what activities you can perform on your property, whether it's in the home or on the property.
Do you guys regulate yard sales and garage sales and things like that?
Yeah.
We do, yeah, do we?
I
How
thought we
we-
did for yard sales.
Maybe we put it in that. That's right. I know signage wise,
Oh, yeah.
How is a yard sale a not-for-profit?
It is for profit.
but you can handle them similarly.
You're losing
Is that
money.
what you're getting
I
at?
tell you that.
Yeah. That was my, yeah, kind
This is
of
getting out of.
where I was going,
Yeah, I think
to see if there were
I
any
think this discussion's
rules
under
or
control.
regulations on yard sales, because it's kind of. You know, along the same thing,
Right.
especially for like people who don't have them all the time, but have them sometimes.
Right,
I don't think we allow them.
yeah.
I
I'd have
don't
to
know
look at
where
the
it says
zoning,
that,
but-
but
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never seen a yard sale or a community yard sale thing, or even an individual yard
Okay.
sale thing.
Yeah, I didn't think we did, but.
Okay.
No.
And I would counter very strongly that this is not out of control. The reason this town gets in trouble when it comes to uses is because we do not deal with these things. And then you're faced with applications where you can't say no.
Mm.
And people get all bent out of shape. So that's why I think we need to go through things like this.
Yeah,
If we don't want uses in certain areas, an LDR is like the big one in this town, then we ought to be pretty specific about what we're writing. And I think with Margaret and I are trying to find a way, with Liz's help, to deal with the nonprofit and community events so that they are allowed in LDR, but we do not want nonprofit, not-for-profit, some types of nonprofit events. We don't want to have no control over that in LDR.
my
We
point is,
need to make a decision here.
Yes, we can.
No, but you're putting what I'm hearing is you're putting a value on what can be you're a nonprofit, what we're allowing, and somebody else's nonprofit. And that I think is tricky. I really feel like you need to be open, like, yeah,
We have to come up with the boundaries of what they are.
but again, it's walk the line of like, what are we saying? Oh, this is okay, well, your nonprofit's okay, but yours isn't. And I don't know. I think.
That's how we-
What was wrong with what Jim introduced? Cause I thought we all, nodded at Jim. It's like, if it's a health service regulated food event, that's it. And you don't get into this profit, nonprofit. I mean, I think you'd still do the exclusion clause, so. I don't know. I'm just trying to, get it to, like, I mean, we have to, it's good to have the discussions that, but we do need to make a call, some point in the next hour or so.
that's just true.
But I don't know, cause I thought Jim had a good point, and
And we've
and
been
then
at
we
this-
can call out the
But we were talking about trying to incorporate that into a separate section. to
Exactly, yeah,
Protect it.
I think the second
That's smart.
section is the best suggestion that has come out of this meeting,
I agree.
or this last 30 minutes.
So let's,
But what it is, I
Maybe
mean, we gotta decide if we're gonna make
vote
a
on it.
change, and put this in front of the people on December 16th. Liz has to write whatever we want. We're sitting on November 24th. And the rest of this week is gonna be tough, so. We're looking at a couple of weeks.
Well, what I would say is something like that the nonprofit fundraising and community events are permitted in all zones with the permission of the property owner.
Okay,
I can go for that.
Doesn't
Okay,
give-
which basically says, and people do this for the most part anyway, if there's going to be a gazebo sachet and it's going to be on somebody's recreational piece of land, they are advised before we go tromping across their recreational piece of land. We would assume that the PTO gets approval from the school before they have,
right.
a
Right.
potluck there.
But how does that deal with the example I brought up? Someone declares that their home in LDR is a religious establishment. And therefore they're gonna have fundraisers there.
So
Do that anyway,
Yeah,
No,
It's their
well,
property.
it's silent now.
it's their property.
and it's a
The
religious
butters make it
establishment.
differently, I mean,
but the abutters could object because it's
On-
obstruct, to your point of what, they could object if it's loud, if it's, the parking is an issue, if there's, but why would
that-
an abutter object to what is,
because that happens after or during or after the event, right? So Margaret's proposal is a property owner decides. So
Right.
there's no,
Consensus from the abutters.
nothing ahead of time to permit it, so to speak,
No,
just.
no, it's the property owner that would decide. So it doesn't have to come before the
Anybody,
select board
So
or,
How about property owner and presence? Do you want the property owner there?
no, I don't think that would.
no,
Say,
I
well,
don't
I'm
think
not,
that works because.
I'm not home this
That's the-
weekend, so you can use my house for whatever you want.
So if your zoning ordinance doesn't say anything about fundraising, then it wouldn't be regulated.
Do you really want to use that word religion?
Well, that's just the one that comes to
an
mind.
example, yeah.
Yeah,
But again, what's
I have no
the
problem with it.
issue?
No,
What's
Could
the
be something
issue? If
else.
I
somebody,
do.
Okay.
is having church in their home
Well, we
followed
can't-
by a luncheon. What's the issue?
Right, that's,
So the way
that's what I'm saying as
the
well.
definition currently reads, I don't feel as if it would regulate any type of fundraiser.
our regulation.
This.
Oh, this up here.
This,
Yeah, no,
the
that's
new-
how I originally
The
read
new
it too.
definition, yeah, I don't think it would. Because it says that routinely, and even if you have it 4 times a year, it's not routinely done. So therefore, it wouldn't be regulated under this.
Right,
So it would, if the zoning ordinance is silent on something. The permissive.
Yeah, does
the
permissive come
zoning
into,
Clause though, then,
you're not, if it's
Ixnay's
not,
that, yeah,
yeah,
so-
if it's not affirmatively mentioned.
Well,
So
Liz,
we
what
can
if it
just
happened every
allow-
week?
what's that?
What if it was every week? Like if it were a religious thing that you did in your house
Or a
every
book
single
club?
week? But book clubs aren't usually meet every week, but I'm talking.
Well,
like
let's
a-
say-
Lots do,
Could be,
That's crazy.
and they serve food and wine.
yeah,
that would be routine, weekly would be routine, I
It
would think,
would
I
be,
think most
yes.
people would agree that it would be a definition.
But I don't think that's a,
But
You
it's
know,
a
about it,
community
though, would
event.
be something
Yeah.
that-
Essentially
that
a
a lot of
community
people
event.
was
Right.
frequent.
but that's not
Otherwise, why would you
a.
care?
Well-
The clause we're dealing with is private or public organization or institution, whether profit or nonprofit, which routinely serves food. That's what we're trying to fix.
So again, I'm sorry, going back to Margaret's suggestion, what was the concerns?
The
'Cause it
of the
sounded-
property owner's
Property
permission.
owner?
Yeah, with the property owner's permission.
That's kind of the way it is now.
It
I'm in
is.
a butter and I like sick and tired of, like I said, parking, like I would call them public safety and I would, you know, that's how I would enforce it, but
Maybe the fact that it says that it has to be an institution. If it's not an institution, it's not covered by this either.
Or public
Right.
organization.
So it may or may not be
Yeah.
allowed. With
Use
the
the book
property
club.
owners.
Yeah, book club,
Permission
the Mahjong club
is what we're looking,
Mhm.
is what we're
public
looking for.
organization.
The property owner says yes or no. It's a
Yeah.
fundraising event.
It makes it a little better.
No, I think whatever the board, whatever the consensus of the board is.
It certainly points at the difficulty in trying to craft ordinances that work.
I can,
Okay, I'll accept the first suggestion, and that is that with the owner's permission, and then the second suggestion, which was to have a special section for special events.
And community
Community and,
events and nonprofit fundraising events.
right. So that'd be allowed in any zone with the owner's permission.
So far, that's where we are.
Mhm.
Is that okay, Liz?
yes, I believe so.
I mean, it still doesn't, I think, resolve the unintended consequences, but it's something, it's.
Yeah,
You may
no,
not
I
have
think
done
it's a
it.
start, and I will look into what the state law allows us to do, and be able to,
So the
Have
unintended
something.
consequences when we call on Jim.
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna say it's allowed.
Yeah.
For code enforcement.
I'm wondering how many calls have we had in the lifetime that I've been here on this situation?
I don't know.
Probably zero.
Probably zero is what I would guess.
I
I
think
mean,
there's-
most people that have fundraising events in their home contact the police because of the parking
Yeah.
situation coming
Mhm.
up.
Yeah. I agree.
Also let the neighbors know, even if the neighbors aren't invited to the party. I mean,
Yeah.
most people follow that's along those lines.
From the code enforcement standpoint, we don't really run into that issue that much, but your comment about the parking is where we run into it more. And then when I look at that proposed definition 28, the service establishment, that follows, I just pulled up the food service licensing. That definition follows the license application from the state, almost to a T.
Thanks.
Okay. Good step forward, I think. Yeah, the best way to solve these problems is invite the neighbor to the party.
We shall see. No, I think that's it's certainly a step in the right direction, so.
So we
Larry
would
gets the
have, we
protection.
would have a definition and then in the table, there would be a little thing about community and nonprofit fundraising events and it would show P across all the areas that we control.
or we could just do a general, under the general requirements section,
Okay,
just put it, and then it would just cover everything.
okay.
Is there anything else we should be discussing this morning? Do I hear a motion?
Well, does Liz have everything she needs for, what's the,
Yes.
the,
Oh, do you want to do a calendar review real quick? While
Yeah,
we're just-
I mean-
Oh, well, you know,
Yeah.
my calendar just
I
overflows.
will send out an email, going over what we have scheduled as well.
next one's the 16th?
No,
December
December
1st.
first,
We're gonna be here, yes, December 1st.
Monday.
First,
Oh, that's right, for the
December
continuation of the
11th.
public hearing.
Yep.
What's the 11th?
And the 6th.
a regular planning board.
Planning
Thank you.
board meeting, then we're back on the 12th.
16.
No, 16, sorry,
16.
16.
Right.
at 6 p.m.
Okay.
And that's for the zoning ordinance public hearing.
And then the
And
only
then
thing
it's
after
just
that,
regular.
yeah,
January
January,
8th, was it?
yeah,
Well, depending on what
Yes,
happens in
that's
Right.
the
the public
regular
hearing.
as of
schedule.
now, right?
January 8th at 8:30 is the regular meeting.
That's a Wednesday?
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yep,
It's always the
second-
same.
Second Thursday of every month. At 8:30.
Lynn, when you finish the, whatever changes, can you just send it to Jim and Dave too?
Yeah,
8:30.
yes.
And I'm sorry, did we say December 1 was?
Yeah.
December 1
Specific.
here, 6 p.m. for the continuation of the public hearing.
Okay,
Adventure Zone.
and December 16th also is a public hearing?
Yes,
For zone.
but for the zoning ordinance changes.
Okay,
And the 11th.
Is the 11th a regular meeting?
And a park.
What are we gonna discuss?
Yes.
Yeah.
As we-
Well, the zoning,
That's gonna be,
that'll be the
we're
zoning.
blocking the CIP.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Okay,
CIP
that's
and,
valid.
and what Liz passes out to us, zoning
That's
before we go
right.
to
It's
public
gonna
hearing
be-
on the 16th.
Exactly, it's gonna be the preamble.
We're gonna vote on what we want to put there, right?
That's the rehearsal for the 16th.
Yes.
But we actually have to vote, right?
Yes, so at the public hearing, once we throw all this information out to the public, they'll have a chance to speak. If the board wants to change it, changes can be made. And then if substantial changes are made, the meeting gets postponed to the second public hearing.
Right.
In between the two public hearings, if we need a workshop, that will be a public meeting, where we can do all of this all over again. And then
Good.
the second public hearing, the board votes to accept all the changes, and then one by one, have to read the warrant articles into record in their final form.
Right.
So the warrant articles that I drafted will be updated, and that's what will be read into the record, and voted on one by one. So currently, I believe we're up to 16. So,
I have a question. I hate to ask this question. We did not give the public the opportunity to read and or comment on parking at this public meeting. Do we need to give them two opportunities at parking, or is one slice of the pie enough?
what, in regards to what, parking? The
Well,
parking,
parking was raised today. Anybody who did raise parking could talk about it.
Well, except they don't know what they were talking about,
We're
Yeah,
gonna
But that's
go
what
to
December, that's what December 1st.
because.
December 1st, I'll talk about it because there were some people who said that they didn't know that the parking study was available online.
Except it wasn't.
which
It
we will
was
make.
for like, so
Yep.
what I figured out is that, I was out sick last week when they published the.
I wasn't
public-
blaming
No,
you.
no, but when it was there, but then when they put up the notice for this new public hearing, it took it all down, so it has
I-
been
Make
up.
sure it's
It's
updated.
just
Cause I
up-
did see it. Yeah.
I think your question is, do we have to have another public hearing, not just on the 1st for parking? I think it depends what's said at parking. Depends on what the board wants to
Okay,
say.
well, so the answer is, we'll worry about it next week.
So we will.
I'm fine with that answer.
We'll
Okay.
make sure the parking study is posted on the website.
Yep.
And the public
And
notice will
as
have
well as the
peer review.
peer review.
Yeah.
Once I get it, it will also be up.
Yeah.
Yes, and then they can come December 1st and voice their.
And everything, whether it was on the website, whether it went down, it's still all available
I'm just
here.
asking the
There's no
question.
doubt for it.
Okay, but
So on the 11th,
Like
we will
everything
finish
else.
with zoning. That's the intent of the 11th. Is to-
Yes.
The website's times are all messed
To
up.
vote out what we want to put to
Um,
public hearing, right?
Yes.
Nancy
Yeah,
has a
that's the
comment.
button up. All of the board's changes. Come public hearing, it may change again.
And that will require another public hearing.
Yes. and
So-
that will-
Okay.
We need what you're gonna give us for that December 11th
Yes.
discussion. Got it.
Okay, time out. Nancy, you have a comment?
Yeah, the website, like, sounds like people rely on it for meeting times and they're wrong. So December first, it says it's at
So Kristen.
9 a.m. And then our regular meetings are still listed at 8 a.m. instead of 8:30.
I will let Kristen know she maintains the calendar.
Yeah, I just didn't know who to talk to about it. I should also say that something changed in the website so that if you're running a VPN, it won't let you onto the website. Can that get fixed?
I don't even know what a VPN is.
Virtual.
No, because it doesn't,
It
yeah,
does.
Yeah, it doesn't work with mine. I use NordVPN and it doesn't work at all.
Well, I'm
It-
turning it
part
on
of
the
the problem.
problem.
The town
Huh?
website.
Yeah, but not when I'm traveling. If I'm in. an
Virtual
airport, I don't-
private network.
I don't know.
Yeah, anyway.
A lot of
Mine.
sites are like that. I have the
Like
same
all
issue with
space.
sites.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
have
but-
worked
It's not
everywhere.
secure.
It doesn't
Wasn't until
recognize.
last week.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So somebody changed something? Please.
that might be a
Yeah.
website developer.
That's
Well, that's-
very-
that's
Yeah,
a
website
developer
host.
Redoing the
manager.
website.
Call them up.
Run it by Steve.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, literally, it wasn't like that 2 weeks ago. It changed last week
Yeah.
and I haven't been able to get in.
That's
Can
because
you
you're,
get
There
in
might
from-
be security.
that's
and-
because you're drinking in Ireland.
Yeah.
Well, no, I
Can
mean,
you get
there
it
are
from here?
protocols
Yes.
for.
No,
for
Yeah.
I
websites.
can't get in sitting here if I'm using my
That-
VPN.
that's interesting.
Yeah,
My VPN, which is Norton, or Semantic, whatever, lets me get in.
yeah, I use Nord.
So Nancy, whatever
No,
you
I'm not
suggest,
making-
is
It could be
email
settings
Steve your
too.
questions.
Yeah.
Steve's the one
No,
that was.
actually,
Yeah,
Yep.
written it down somewhere.
it's something we want to fix for we're doing a whole new website, so we want to make sure.
Yeah,
It's that balance, so you don't get inundated with.
I mean, it might be difficult.
it should always work.
But no,
If you're using a VPN, there's no reason why it shouldn't. It's just crappy.
So I would email Steve.
Okay.
Okay.
Could be servers.
Now, somebody asked a question about whether or not we need to review the parking particular again. And what the rules state is that the planning board will review the public hearing. And if there's something that comes up in the public hearing that we need to act on, we have the ability to do it. It
Whatever
doesn't state that you are specifically have to have more public hearings.
Perfect.
It's just for your deliberation, and whenever you're ready for your deliberation, you do your deliberation. Once you've met the public, you only require the one public hearing.
Yeah, one is required. We're doing two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One, once you do the one, you can tell everyone,
Go away.
we're
Yeah.
gonna deliberate.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I have a question for the ex.
For me?
Yeah.
Ex officio, yes, go ahead, go ahead.
When are we gonna have someone update our website like a year ago?
Yeah, it's in process.
What's going on?
Well, we're looking at other vendors.
What? Wait a minute, wait a minute. I thought
Because-
we already had somebody doing it.
We do have someone who built our website. And as part of the process, we want to make sure that they're still the best company for it, so we've been looking at other vendors. I think Steve has narrowed it down to a couple, I'm trying to remember.
So Steve and Kristen have really.
We're working on it, whether we want to stay with the current vendor, they have a proposal. Or whether there's another vendor that can give us better service and build a better website, which has been the complaint.
So nobody's really made any changes to our website right now, that I can see.
Not fundamental
Did
changes.
you hire this company?
No, we're still
So you're still looking,
looking, yeah,
a year of looking?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because it also dealt with the fact that the contract came up and a update came up at a certain time. So we wanted to see what the current company was going to put on offer before we moved away from them, if we move away from them. So we just want to get the best website possible. I think we said we'd do it by the end of this year. But we're not going to necessarily make it by the end of this year.
Okay, got it.
But we did say, I think in the spring that we were looking to do it by the end of this year. So we still have. How many days left? 37, 38, 39, but I don't think we'll make it.
No.
Okay.
Any further discussion, any other topics that need to be aired at this meeting?
Just a real quick update. So CIP, we met again last Friday. We believe, still waiting on the updates from Steve, but we believe we have what we're gonna recommend. We're gonna send that out with some rationale. So again, is the part of trying to mature the process. We'll send that out a week from Thanksgiving, so a week from this Thursday. And that'll give the board a week to look at it, develop questions, and for the 11th. So
Okay.
that's the committee update.
We have
Good.
money.
That's
I
something
know,
yet that we have not done.
We've been being, well, you only said it 14 times before you left the room the other day. Yeah.
Just trying to make sure you understood.
No, kept getting repeated.
Okay, this meeting was intended to be the exposure public hearing. We don't need to do committee reports unless there's something that you want to say that.
I move we adjourn. Okay.
Go ahead.
Ready
Yeah,
for that?
I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm ready.
I move we adjourn the meeting to,
No, it's a continuation of the meeting
Yeah,
to
you
December
gotta say
first.
that.
I move we adjourn the meeting and to continue to
Public.
December, the public meeting,
Public hearing.
December 1st at 6 o'clock here.
Public hearing.
Did I say
Second,
public hearing?
Second,
What did I
okay,
say?
second.
all in favor of that motion?
Yeah.
Aye.
Okay, this meeting is postponed until December first.
No, continue.
It continues.
No, well, he's just, he's making the point, like,